Welcome back, students. This is CME494 Sustainable Construction class. Today, we're going to talk about green building assessment systems. So there are various different assessment systems for sustainable construction all around the world, but the main fundamental principles behind all those assessment systems are minimizing resource consumption, minimizing use of non-renewable renewable energy, minimizing polluted, toxic chemicals from the materials that we're using, and minimizing the total waste. And they try to maximize the efficiency of resource usage through reusing, recycling, and maximizing the renewable energy resource usage. And the other principle is fostering conservation, understanding of natural systems functions, economic and environmental justice, along with the stewardship. So these are the three main principles to help the world create their own green building rating systems. So green building rating systems are becoming more popular in practice. The one motivation for building rating systems is to have a consistent way to design buildings and evaluate the alternatives. So they try to kind of standardize to call, to sustainable, to call which buildings are sustainable, which buildings are not. Of course, under each rating systems, they have different levels. So what we are seeing here, like these LEED as US Green Building Council LEED certification system. BREAM is from UK, DGNB is from Germany, and then BCA Green Mark is from Singapore. So there are many other green building rating systems, but these are the ones that we're gonna touch base today, and specifically on LEED certification system, because that's the one we're using in the US. So generally, green building rating systems distill knowledge about green building practices into easy-to-use steps, including a systematic series of evaluations with criteria and credits. So the one that we're going to heavily focus on in our course is going to be US GBC, or US Green Building Council's LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design program. That's the most well-known in the States. The British Research Establishment's BRE, Environmental Assessment Method, or known as BREAM, was another earliest rating system, green building rating systems in the world, along with the Germany's Sustainable Building Council, also released by Germans, and they call it DGNB certification system. And a BCA Green Mark, as I mentioned before, it's for the Singapore green building rating systems, and mostly designed for their environmental conditions. Okay, so let's start with USGBC first. The USGBC's LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design rating systems. So this is basically a voluntary third-party rating system, and it's nationally accepted benchmark for the design, construction, and operations of high-performance green buildings. It's administered by USGBC, US Green Building Council, where credits earned for satisfying specified green building criteria. So we're going to take a look at what those criteria are. And buildings are scored on a point scale at 4 levels: platinum, gold, silver, and certified. So based on the performance of your building, based on the check marks you have on your scorecard, you can be, your building can be certified based on 4 levels, either just certified or silver, gold, or the platinum. So what are those criteria? LEED system, of course, has been an evolving process, rating system process. So they've been renewing themselves for almost every 5 years or so. And they're changing some parts in the including assessment system. For example, location of transportation was not one of the main criterion on their rating system before, but now it does. So their major areas can be listed as location, transportation, sustainable sites, improving energy efficiency, conserving materials and resources, enhancing indoor air quality, water efficiency, and innovation and design. So first, I'm going to talk about what are the ones that's only related with the building itself, and then we will also add location, transportation, and innovation design on top of that. So basically, this is how your LEED certification scorecard looks like. There are many different versions of it. This is only for LEED new construction and major renovations for commercial buildings. They do have different certification system, for example, for hospitals, for schools, for residential buildings, but this is the most common ones. And again, this is for the new construction or major renovations. They do have it for operation and maintenance as well. And based on a scorecard, so there are main categories, and under each category, there are credits. And then you can see on the right side, what are the possible credits that you can earn from each SAP category. And the descriptions of these SAP categories are given in LEED book, and then I'll provide as a link for you guys. So you can take a look at it. What are the prerequisites? What are the credits that you can achieve to achieve one of these, either certified, silver, gold, or platinum certification systems? So first, let's take a look at energy and atmosphere. So if we go back here, energy and atmosphere refers to, let me use the mouse so you guys can see. So energy atmosphere is referring to here. So you can have possible 33 credits from here. You have prerequisites, meaning that you have to achieve these prerequisites before you start earning credits under this section. So energy and atmosphere section in the LEED certification system basically verifies that the building's energy-related systems are installed, calibrated, verified, and performing according to owner's project requirements. So that's based on a design and the construction documents through building commissioning. So this is very important because now we're talking about like your mechanical system when we're saying commissioning. Building commissioning is the process of testing and verification during and after a construction or renovation project to ensure that all of the systems are specified, installed, and operating correctly and at maximum efficiency. So these are some of the examples that I can show you guys. What do we mean by commissioning? So all these, like for example, mechanical ventilation systems, your furnace. If you have other like smart building features for your building, they have to be tested and verified and commissioned before building is actually going to be operated. And then they need to check it after occupants start using your building as well. Again, this is for new buildings, new construction. So one of the most important aspects of building environmental impact is during the operation phase. Many buildings have the bulk of their impacts during this phase because actually when occupants start using your building, not everyone behaves the same way. So you may have differences between what you actually design and how your building actually end up. So you may need to revisit and keep continuous commissioning. That's very highly recommended to make sure that the building is operating very well, no energy leakage, no excessive usage of your water heating system or your electricity consumption. So building commissioning ensures that the building is operating according to specifications, and continuous commissioning keeps track of performance over time. Benefits of commissioning include reduced energy usage, lower operating costs, reduced contractor callbacks, better building documentation, improved occupant productivity and well-being in the building, and verification that the systems perform in accordance with the owner's project requirements. The commissioning process activities shall be completed for the following energy-related systems. So at minimum, again, these are the commissioning process activities that needs to be completed for following energy-related systems. So these are, at minimum, HVAC, your heating, ventilating, air conditioning, refrigeration systems, which includes your mechanical and passive controls, associated controls, lighting and daylighting controls, domestic hot water systems, and renewable energy systems, if there is any in your building, such as wind or solar or geothermal systems, these all have to be commissioned before and after you start using, your occupants start using the building. The second section in LEED is materials and resources. So it is referring to right here. Well, let me show you with my mouse again. So materials and resources, oops, move this. Right here on the right top corner. So we can have possible max 13 points earn credits from that. And then we have 2 prerequisites. So what do we mean by materials and resources? So this is the section on your LEED certification system intends to facilitate the reduction of waste generated by building construction occupants that's landfill. So you try to provide an easy, accessible area that serves the entire building and dedicated to the collection and storage of non-hazardous materials for recycling. And these can be minimum like paper, glass, plastic, metals, etc., based on the LEED requirement. So the other best practices include, be careful with this one, that consider structural materials that do not require application of finish layers, using materials with a high recycled content when possible, using materials that are sourced and manufactured locally. This is very important because I'm going to go back to this one later. Extending the life cycle of existing building materials and reducing the waste generated by an environmental impact of materials. So again, everything is designed around that sustainability principle. But about this about this like using the materials sourced and manufactured locally, LEED only focuses on how it's been delivered to the site and how it's been used and how it's been diverted after the usage. So when we talk about the BREAM, I'm going to point out one thing I think the LEED certification system needs to improve, by the way. Let's move on to the other section, and then we'll go back to this using locally sourced material thing later. So the other section is indoor environmental quality, and our certification system, it refers to right here. So we can get possible 16 points out of this one. And then we have 2 prerequisite credits that you need to first address before you start earning credits or scores from the rest of the credits. So if we go back to the indoor quality one here. So what do we mean by this? So when we say indoor air quality, environmental quality, we're talking about enhancing your thermal comfort level in the building, your daylight exposure to the maximum daylighting, your lighting comfort. If it's too bright, again, it might be uncomfortable for your occupants as well. So you have to be careful about it. The acoustic performance. So how well preserved the walls and then the insulation is in the building. So the acoustic is not going to bother the occupants when they're living in your building or when they're using your building. So we say thermal comfort, lighting, and the acoustic, and an indoor air quality, which is becoming more and more important lately because of recent pandemic COVID. We have to maintain a high indoor air quality for the occupants. Just providing mechanical ventilation may not be enough. You may need to enhance the indoor air quality along with mechanical and also active ventilation system, which is just basically opening your windows. All right, so the other section is sustainable sites, and then that refers to, if we go back to our scorecard, so sustainable sites are here, the credits, so you can get possible 10 credits out of this, and then there's 1 prerequisite. So early versions of LEED certification system, location transportation was also kind of part of sustainable sites, but they now separate them because each has its own importance. So they want to provide buildings have a chance to earn credits from 2 different sections. So what do we mean by sustainable site? So these are the main intent behind the concept is to reduce pollution from construction activities by controlling soil erosion, waterways, sedimentation, and airborne dust generation. So builders are required to create and implement an erosion and sedimentation control, which is known as ESC plan for all construction activities associated with the project. So the plan describes the measures implemented to prevent loss of soil from a construction site during construction, prevent sedimentation of storm sewers or receiving streams, and preventing particulate matter air pollution from airborne dust. Especially for hospitals, if you're working a hospital project, like they're extremely sensitive to this airborne dust. So for LEED certification for hospitals has more requirements for this part, sustainable sites part. Okay, so another one is going to be the water efficiency. So for water efficiency, there's some stuff that you can use. Let me show you what these are. Oops, sorry. So these include like water for your water efficiency of your building, the water consumption of your faucet, your sink, your water heater system, your shower system. These are all have certain amount of flow rates. So you have to be careful about what is the conventional, for example, faucets, how much water they're using per minute per flush, versus what are the water efficient ones, how much using and how much impacts they can make on your building. These are important elements that you need to take into consideration. And another part is innovation and design. So let's take a look at it where it's at on our certification card. Let me point it out. So it's in this small site here, possible of 6 points. LEED always want to give you this chance to, because as I mentioned, it's an evolving process. So they want to see if you come up with your own innovative method and put it there, and you can gain up to 5 points out of that, and including a LEED AP professional, going to add another one, so in total 6. So innovation and design, it's going to provide your building especially a way to like pursue and earn up a lot of credits, because LEED is also seeking for how we can adopt this. If it's a really brilliant idea, can we include it into our mandatory, mandated, or regularized scorecard system? So that's what LEED is looking for here, and give you the designers or construction people to like have a chance to get flexibility to come up with their own ideas. So what they're looking for is they're awarded for comprehensive strategies which demonstrate quantifiable environmental benefits not specifically addressed by current LEED rating system. So it provides design teams and projects the opportunity to be flexible and awarded points for exceptional performance about the requirements set by the LEED. For example, use of salvage materials and recycled content in infrastructure, that's not addressed in existing credits, but it makes a health impact on the assessment itself, and a provision of a percentage of the nutrition resources generated by the project's wastewater treatment process to be used on the site or elsewhere near the project. So these are kind of like ideas to give you like how you can use or add more into your certification system, certification scorecard, so you can, as a builder, you can aim the highest possible points that you can achieve. Of course, the LEED rating system doesn't come cheap. So for registration, paper documentation, etc., it's costly. So you have to be aware of that one as well while you're thinking about considering getting a LEED certification system for your building. So as I mentioned, these were the main ones, but lately they also add location transportation into the evaluating the building itself. So So it's not only about your building itself, but also the surrounding environment. How you protect your land, how much you have access to the public transportation, how much you're motivating your occupants to go with the green vehicles, EVs, etc. So these are all categorized under location and transportation, and which is the very first section here. Location and transportation, you can gain up to 16 credits from this section. And you can see here what are the requirements, just the topics of the requirements, or I would say credits for the LEED certification under location and transportation. Okay, so this is for the LEED. Again, LEED, we're gonna put more emphasis on because that's the most common certification system used in the US, but there are other ones available all around the world, widely used by other countries. So for example, Singapore has their Green Mark certification system. So Building Construction Authority of Singapore launched a program in 2005, and it's an initiative to drive Singapore's construction industry towards more environmental friendly buildings. So their intent is, of course, very similar to LEED certification system to promote sustainability in the built environment and raise environmental awareness among developers, designers, and builders. So they gained popularity in the region because it's specifically designed for the tropical climate. So that was a bit unique, which we don't have that much of a climate considerations in the LEED certification system. But Singapore's BCA has specifically designed for tropical climate, so that provides a meaningful differentiation of buildings in the real estate market and put a benchmark scheme incorporating international recognized best practices, especially the buildings around that region. So they include a facilitating reduction water energy bills, reducing potential environmental impact, improving indoor air quality, and providing clear direction for continual improvement. And this is like a version that you can see. Again, this is similar to LEED certification system. It's evolving and improved over the course of the years. It aims to easy one-stop electronic access to consolidated company and product information. So also they provide this guideline for their users. They can use as a reference, and they can see design decisions, drawings, specs, and also where they can find or purchase those green materials. So they provide this repository for the users, which is, I think, pretty cool, that you can have easy access to if you want to achieve green building principles or sustainability principles for your building. Another certification system is designed by UK. It's known as BREAM, the Building Research Establishment Environmental Assessment Method. So they started very early on. UK started in late 80s, and it's one of the leading and most widely used environmental assessment methods for buildings. It sets the standard for best practice in sustainable design and has become the de facto measure used in the UK to describe a building's environmental performance. BREAM is the certification and quality assurance body, and they train, examine, and license organizations and individuals to carry out the assessment process and work with the design teams. And any professional can become a trained and licensed to deliver a BREAM rating system, and then you can see the basic figure, how it works on this figure. So the BREAM has a little bit, I would say, some advantages, or one advantage compared to LEED is about the waste diversion. For example, offsite construction, so prefab construction. It's becoming more widely used lately, especially with COVID. Now people want to have more leaning on the prefab construction because then it can be delivered on site, and minimum contact and minimum hassle. Delivery time is certain or more accurate, and then installation time is more accurate. But the problem is if you're working in the US and pursuing LEED, you're not getting any certification or points if you using prefab construction. In fact, because you are doing it like you're minimizing all the waste generating at the site, and all this airborne dust and everything can occur during the site by using prefab. But LEED didn't give credits on that one, but BREAM does. So that's a little bit, you know, distinguishing part of BREAM compared to LEED certification system. So they have this 9 areas, very similar to what we have at LEED. Energy is operational use, carbon dioxide production. Management is including system commissioning, procurement of materials, and site management. Health and well-being examines the noise, light, air quality, and thermal comfort level of indoor and outdoor of your building. Carbon dioxide pollution is used for evaluation transportation along with the proximity factors. So it's good to close to your public transportation, but at the same time, right, it comes with some pollution problems as well. So BREAM also take into consideration that part too. Embodied carbon dioxide and other impacts also used to score materials, construction, operational waste management involves reducing waste generated on the site. Land use and ecology is evaluated through location and building footprint area, and pollution generated by the building and site conservation that is the final evaluation categories under BIM. Okay, so the last certification system, assessment system I want to talk about is DGNB, German, which is designed by German Sustainable Building Council. So this one is a certification system as incorporated comprehensive quality concept, which takes into consideration economics, ecology, and sociocultural aspects, which is basically providing this holistic view of the building's entire life cycle. So buildings with high quality standards documented by DGNB have been constructed in Germany and then being adopted, especially for the European Union zones. So they're more widely used in Europe, and they're ideal tool for high building quality and performance in that area. And this is their 6 fields, how it works. Again, from the Sustainable Building Assessment, Planning and Practice, one of its strengths is that the comprehensiveness relative to the sustainable buildings. So sustainable building criteria have been defined with broad consensus covering 6 main fields: economic quality, sociocultural and functional quality, technical quality, process quality, ecological quality, and site quality. So each field contains special criteria that can be designed and weighted differently depending upon the occupancy profile. I think this is very important, including this different, giving different weights, different importance of, you know, which one is going to be more important, instead of assuming that all these criteria is going to be equally important. Some might be more important than the others based on your occupancy profile. So in that case, this certification system is providing you a different, or giving you the flexible assessment for your building, sustainable buildings, based on your occupancy profile. And then each field and the certification system is also viewed over the building's entire life cycle. They do have a software, and then this is, for example, the one here. I should use my mouse. The one you see here, that this is generated by their softwares, like performance index is 85%. And each one you can see when you give it different weights, and then you can see how important it is to relative to the overall performance, sustainable performance of your building. All right, so these were the 4 main green building rating systems using all around the world. I hope, again, the green building rating systems are becoming more important. And the most important thing about those rating systems are they're trying to provide the systematic system or evaluation system and put a benchmark for rated green buildings, for sustainable buildings. But again, it doesn't come cheap. So you have to be careful about which route you want to take when you're designing and constructing your building. And concluding thoughts about this module: construction industry must participate for sustainability to succeed. The moment to sustainable construction is, I think, coming up. These are the assessment systems. You can, if you pursue them, you're going to get a very awardable feedback, and it's, even if it's going to come with a cost, a recognized certification from highly prestigious authorities. But you can also achieve sustainability without these assessment systems as well. So again, but if you follow these ones, then you're going to end up having higher performance sustainable buildings. So that's all for today. Thank you very much, everyone.